Hey, welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your girl, AJ Suburban Princess, here with yet another edition of 5 questions, but a special 5 questions because this time it will be very instrumental in determining how me and your host, Breezy, below will decide how these Eagles will look in the future and how we're going to finish out December, because right now things are looking very up in the air. Welcome back to my girl, Breezy.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Yes, I appreciate you, because even doing that 5 questions on your birthday, I appreciate you for being such a sport, because you could have been doing other things, but I appreciate it.
Listen, if I had friends, I'd be doing other things, but I don't. So here we are.
Well, okay, so I'm just gonna let you go at it, because at this point my head's swimming with everything that's been coming out amongst all this COVID list of players that are being like sidelined, if not in contact, if not have it, unvaccinated or vaccinated. But we're just going to stick to our birds. So far, we haven't heard too many. I saw the injury list, it wasn't that long. What is your overall take now that the season is pretty much 4 games left? What were your expectations even before this season started, and what are they now that we're down to 4?
So I was very optimistic in the off season. I liked the way that Nick Sirianni was talking, how he said he was going to, get the best out of his players and all of that. And I liked the way John Gannon was talking, how he was going to, do the best for the defensive side of the ball. And, it was all going to work. Everything was going to be just fine. We didn't have anything to fear. I had this team approach. I had them winning 13 games. I had them going 13-4. And in my realistic version, because we didn't know what we were going to get with this team. We had no idea what the coaching staff was going to be like for real. So my realistic record for them was, I believe it was 10-7, if I'm not mistaken. It's like something like that. But I pretty sure I had them winning double digits at least.
Okay.
And yeah, we're like barely, we're just trying to get to 6 wins here. Like, I mean, this is just,
Yeah.
or 7 wins. I'm sorry. Like, but this is just, it's ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. They lost games that they probably shouldn't have lost.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I feel like this team is the better team, especially going against Washington on Sunday. We're the better team on all sides of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have a little bit more chemistry than the Washington team does right now. And we're kind of hitting our stride. So with 4 games left in the season, I mean, it's really just like, if we get into the dance, we get in. If we don't, then just everybody stay healthy and nobody die in the off season.
Absolutely. I mean, what do you think, especially now with December? This is usually the hype time, no matter what our team looks like, because there's always this weird chance that we have a chance to get into the wild card. And mind you, I am sick and tired of hoping for a wild card, but realistically, we haven't been this stable since the Super Bowl year. And even a little after, even though they just got a little cocky and kind of blew that year. But you're right. We didn't know what to expect, but I was more negative only because I was still a little mad about the whole situation with Carson and him just jetting. And so I thought, because of everything was new, I thought for sure we were up shit's creek without a paddle, because you really don't know even where to start. I didn't feel optimistic about Sirianni, because I felt like his super nervousness made me unsure that he was a right pick, or if it was just because he was younger that they went with him, and then because he came from the Colts, which obviously was where Carson was going to go. That was like the worst kept secret in America. And I just felt like it was just fair to kind of do the kind of 500 thing, where it'd be like, because we have 17 weeks. So I thought it would just be 8 and 9. Especially after week 1, I really thought most likely we can probably get this together faster than normal.
Yeah.
Fool's gold, and then the Dallas week came, and then I gave up quickly. I was one of those people who, I think that game, that's when Jalen started getting kind of tackled a little bit more. It got a little bit more physical as the weeks went on. And so I got to the point where I think I only tweeted about wanting Gardner only because I didn't want Jalen to get hurt anymore. Like I didn't want him to have to run so much because I know what they say about running quarterbacks. But as a Black quarterback, I've really felt the negative publicity coming at him before he even snapped the ball. So I didn't like that. You know what I mean? So I quickly got off of the Wentz wagon, even though I still do like Wentz, but I understand why he was a disappointment to all of us as a fan base. But yeah, I'm mixed now. Like now at this point, I'm like you. I just want them to make 500 and at least have a decent showing to get into the last wild card slot. At that point, I don't care what happens, because if anything breaks now, it's just the result of all these teams that have gotten impacted either with COVID and or just bad games in a row. We got these big teams playing, but now Arizona lost that game they should have won the other night on Monday night. And then you got, the Rams suddenly looking better now, but now do you trust the Rams necessarily, or is it just their division?
Nope.
I'm with you. Like there's a lot of teams that look shiny right now, but I mean, I was hoping for the Bills, if not the Ravens. Now the Ravens are totally depleted to me because Lamar is limping again, and at this point I feel like I didn't think he was going to make it because he had been sick so many times, on top of the fact now he got a bum ankle. So I feel like the Ravens shot is pretty much gone, but it could shock me. It's just right now, this is the most exciting time of this season, which is not saying much for the Eagles because as a fan base, we all like, you had high hopes, which is natural because you just love your team. But at the same time, realistically, it showed mid season that they were not all on the same page.
Yeah.
But I went out and got my Jalen shirt because I just got to the point where I was like, the reality is whether or not he stays next year, which we'll address later, that's a whole nother thing, because they can decide to jump on the whole quarterback factory bullshit again next year and just totally make this a rebuilding year again, which I'm praying.
Let's hope not, because I'm tired. I'm tired of the.
I'm with you.
I'm tired of it.
I'm with you. I'm like, for once, just ride with somebody. We've been with Carson for 5 seasons. Like at least give Jalen a chance, because once he came in last year, it showed that he can get the offense to move. But you got a lot of moving factors going on with him too, because there's a lot of guys that may not be back next year just because of seniority. But just getting to the first question, do you think, in your opinion, do you feel like Jalen Hurts is worth a start next year?
Oh, absolutely. It would be money saving for him to stay, because he's on a rookie deal. Like you're paying $6 million to this kid over the course of 5 years, pretty much. And he's worth, I think his cap hit every year is like 1.3 million, maybe, so it's financially wise to keep him another year instead of going out and shopping and overpaying for a quarterback like they did with Joe Flacco. They brought him in for 2 years and then they go and trade him.
Right.
And, it's just, I feel like this team, there's too many moving parts. Like you said, there's too many moving parts around Jalen Hurts right now. Everybody is new. Everybody's still trying to develop that chemistry. And I feel like he deserves another shot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether Howie agrees with that or not, I feel like he deserves another shot to be a starter in Philadelphia. It'll be nice to have him and Sirianni really look back at this year and be like, okay, this is what we did really well. This is what we did really terrible. This is what we think we can work on. Let's take all of this stuff and build on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that is really just, it's the stepping stone for a successful season. But you can't do that if you get rid of your quarterback again and you bring in somebody else, because then that person has to get acclimated to everybody else who's already been here. Right. And it's just going to be, it's going to be a cycle that never ends.
Agreed, because I feel like the problem with this front office is that, especially now, because we're as a fan base, we're in a very vulnerable stage, because we know we still got a long way to go. But at the same time, reality is, I really was one of those people that thought I could convince myself this year I was willing to be patient with the growth. But I really literally grew impatient like week 4. Like right after Dallas, I was really pissed off because I realized, I'm like, damn, y'all can't even try to fake like y'all know what y'all were doing on Monday night, like against the Cowboys. Like, beat them out of anybody this season, beat them, But the reality is with Jalen, I agree. For continuity's sake, just please keep something the same at the head of the offense, because I feel like you deserve it. You owe it to him to at least not fit into that whole stereotype of giving up on him because he's a running quarterback and you envision somebody like Carson Wentz, when the reality is that's no longer valid. So at this point, if he's willing to be like Lamar and learn how to be in the pocket and run, then that's worth another look for another year.
Right.
Yeah. I know we all have, hindsight's 2020 right now, but at the same time, do you really think in our division that we wouldn't really be in this situation regardless of what happened with our team? Because our division is so weak, yet at the same time, all the teams seem to get it together at the weirdest time. So we might have still been battling, even if we were a pretty steady team from the season. You never know. I mean, yet, is it obvious that Dallas is better? Yes, but look at Dak. Like the last game, Dak didn't even really do much. It was mostly the defense. So Dak could be still having a mental block. He could still be feeling his offense out. I don't know. I thought he would look better by now, but I'm starting to think like, whoa, brother, like this is not the time for you to look shaky. Like this is time for you to be like on your hill. And I feel like he didn't look really positive the last couple of weeks. So I feel like the Eagles still have a shot. And I don't even know, who knows if they might talk him into even playing week 17 just for his own head. Just to see, or even if it's for like half a series or whatever, just to prove that he's still okay, because I think it would do the Eagles even a good service to at least beat the Cowboys with a full stack, at least for the first half. And then they can sit all the starters, the second half, at least just for, I don't know, for bragging rights. If they beat us again, fine. But I just feel like week 3 was it was an early showing for a Cowboy match. And then on top of that, the Eagles clearly weren't prepared. So I feel like knowing what we know then, even if it is Gardner starting by that point, you see that they can flow with him too. So I just feel like I want a decent week 17 matchup just for the sake of it. Like I don't want to watch them get beat by Dallas again, especially when they don't really need the win. We do. But yeah, you're right. I mean, at this point, I think it's be stupid to not keep Jalen at this point. But all right, so we were talking about Nick Sirianni versus Gannon. I'm out on Gannon. I feel
I'm done.
I feel like the same bullshit is happening with the defense. You see that they're still playing too far off the ball. You still feel like the only person who really progressed was Slay and Avante as far as the defense, and and the linebackers obviously too. I can't crap on TJ, and Alex is better, not a starter, but he helps when he can. But yeah, you're right. We still need a linebacker, but Gannon is definitely not. I don't think he's the guy for this squad, but they'll probably still keep him. Now versus him and Sirianni, who do you feel like has shown more possibility or growth as far as for next season?
It's definitely Sirianni, 100%. Because I feel like when you can identify what's wrong and you make strides to fix it, then I'm fine with that. I'm perfectly okay with that. This defense has been stagnant. It's almost like that. Like you see them start off really slow, and then it's like midway through the third quarter, it's like, oh, they remembered they have a game to play. and then it's like, then you get that super aggressive ball hawk, kind of defense. And it's like, well, why can't you start like that?
Right.
Like if you started like that, you wouldn't be in this position right now playing from behind. But I think Sirianni is the better of the two coaches, because I still think that Sirianni has a lot to learn. He does.
Definitely.
First time head coach, a lot,
but
there's accountability there that I really, really like about him. And he doesn't BS, we sucked. Like that's just what it is. It's what it is. Jalen wasn't accurate with the ball. That's how he threw 4 interceptions.
Right.
He has the accountability that I like. He is striving to become better, and you see it, progressively every week. They're doing little things a little bit better, but they just have to get over that hump.
Yeah,
they have to get over that hump, and the only way they can do that is if Sirianni continues to identify the problems, work during the week to fix it, and making sure his players are prepared on Sunday. And I think he has a better chance of doing that than John Gannon does with this defense, because it's shit.
Yeah, and I feel like trust is a major factor with the players and a coach. And there's something clearly still not being communicated with the defense. Even if they had, pretty decent showings in the last couple of games, they obviously still lack a pass rush. They still have problems with the rush defense. Like BG, I mean, oh God, do we miss Brandon Graham a lot this year?
Oh yeah.
Now.
Oh yeah.
It's clearly there's just Swiss cheese with this whole defense, you know. And every game you sit there and go, well, you know, you're just gonna let Danny Dimes just run through you again. You know, like that
Again.
game was so freaking annoying. And there's just no reason why by the fourth quarter they shouldn't have got it all together, or at least try to copy and paste and figure it out. So I'm with you. Knowing this front office is stubborn, he'll be back, but I would really like them to drop him and just find somebody else. Or if they got to steal another person from the Colts and just trade or send him back, whatever. But we just need somebody better that can communicate. But moving on. Okay, so during the season, as I actually usually used to do, but I didn't do it in 2020, was go back and look at all the games from the past season. And this season already, I started looking back because I wanted to see where I started noticing that there was improvement with the offense, the lagging in the defense, and then the games that the defense thrived where the offense lagged. There were some games that I still was actually happy, even if they didn't win or lose, that turned out to be pretty good. Like I was away when they were playing in Carolina, but I saw that they scrounged and got that win. But there were games that just impressed me, but they didn't win in them. You know, like they didn't fold. They folded in the Raiders game and the Cowboys game, obviously. But I felt like they could have won against San Francisco. I felt like they could have won even. What was that one game? They started pretty decent in the Raiders, but then they just totally got eaten up. But it kind of irked me because a lot of that stuff in the Raiders game, I just think they just didn't think on their feet in terms of scheming. What games did you look back and you can think now, like if you have looked at them, that you can say, I think they looked really good here. And then some stuff was just obviously a wash.
Well, my favorite game looking back has to be the Saints game. Yeah. I thought that it was like,
that was the best.
The perfect storm. Mm-hmm. Everybody was on the same page. Offense was doing great. Defense was doing great. Special teams was doing great. You know, it was a perfect mixture, and they ended up winning that game. Mm-hmm. And then you look back at, you know, a game like you said, like San Francisco. You know, they should have won that game. Like there was no reason for them to lose that game at all. None. And they couldn't get it done. Mm-hmm. And a game that I thought they looked good in, but they also lost, was probably that Kansas City game. I was there. Yeah. I thought they did pretty well in that game, considering, you know, you're going against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Mm-hmm. But I thought they played pretty well. You know, they just fell short.
Yeah, that was one of those games that annoyed me just because, like you said, like even my sister, it was her first game we were there, and we both kept saying, like, it seems like there's no help on the defense. There she is. Yeah. Hey, boo-boo. He's so cute. Hi. Hello. Happy holidays. But that game was good just because they had it in their hands, and I think that the only time I even thought Mahomes was a threat was like just before, like I think it was mid third quarter, and I started seeing, I'm like, all right, the defense just folded because they had opportunities, they just didn't make the most of them. And there were that was the one game too, they had that flag against Dallas that could have been a touchdown, and then the flag against Devontae because they said he stepped out. I still debated both of them, but. Yeah. And do you think the refs, I feel like the refs too have gotten to the point where they're determining games this season. This has been a bad officiating year.
Of course.
You know,
it's been horrendous. And it's not just football either. Like you see it in the NBA. Yeah. Yeah, it's horrendous. It's absolutely horrendous. Like it's really bad.
It's just gotten to the point where I can tell where and you know what? I love that they're infusing women refs and stuff, but I just wonder sometimes, because I know that, and I forget what game it was. I don't think it was ours, but I'll never forget it because someone had tweeted it and said that one of the refs overrided one of the female refs, and that decision was the right decision, but they went against hers. And I said to myself, okay, are we going to have this bullshit? Stuff now, with older men refs over women?
Yeah, I mean, because again, men have dominated this sport for a very, very long time. And the fact that a woman is now coming in and is on the same level as them, it's looked at as a threat.
Yeah, it is. And I hope it won't be, because it's becoming obvious even to the commentators. If you notice some of the games, like they're even saying that's ridiculous. That should have been called. And there's a lot more of that. So I'm hoping that, I'm glad that the NFL officiating has a Twitter too, because I'd be blowing them up sometimes. I don't know who actually checks it, but I think they've heard a lot probably from Philly fans. All right, so moving on, the culture of the team, does it need to be changed again? Because at this point, I'm starting to question whether, because there's times that I look at Jalen and I feel like a lot of the wide receivers kind of feel him, but then there are just some issues with the front line trusting him at times. And I don't think it really started even gelling until maybe that Saints game. But I just feel like there's kind of a culture still where it's like the old crew still with this kind of promising new crew, but I don't think it'll ever totally gel until Jalen proves himself for another year. Do you feel like maybe there's some personnel changes that might be able to help out with the culture change? Because I feel like there's a point where even the vets are going to have to just fall in line or, retire, or I just feel like there's just some building blocks that are kind of part of the problem with why this team hasn't really gelled right away.
No, I agree. I think that I don't think the culture is too far off. I think, maybe, a couple of people here and there, but I don't think that I don't think it needs to be, completely unhinged or anything like that and replaced. Mm-hmm. I just think everybody needs to get on the same page, and it seems like they have a problem doing that mm-hmm. to an extent. Mm-hmm. And honestly, setting the culture for a football team is really up to your head coach and your quarterback. And if they can't get it done, then you kind of have a problem.
Yeah, I think we made fun of the fact that Sirianni made that flower analogy, but then it kind of proved itself later in the season, even though it was fodder for a while. I actually have to admit it did make sense later, because you see, like we said, up until the Giants game, I really thought that players were buying in, that they just had to give it time and give it more care, because that's basically what it is. You need time, focus, and trust. And once game day came, it's a different ball game. It's different from just doing practice. But mm-hmm. as much as he was made fun of, I do believe that the flower analogy might have been helpful in a way. But in the future going forward, I really think that he shouldn't feel compelled to tell all of the details of every meeting for every game, because I feel like what it does is just puts doubt out there for people who have never heard his philosophy before. I don't think
he's got like vomit at the mouth.
Yeah. And I can relate.
He's got word vomit.
Yeah, word vomit, word diarrhea, whatever you want to say. Yeah, it's TMI. There are times that I do understand now why Andy Reid was so hard to crack like he was, because I think what it did was it held players accountable outside of the media. And you just show and prove. Now I have to talk about the fact that we've obviously noticed a lot of our former Eagles having some progress outside of our squad, and it's kind of depressing, but it goes back to now what I wonder is truly chemistry with the coaches, or whether the players just weren't ready. But I mean, come on, when you see Rasul Douglas getting 2 picks against 2 major teams, coming from the practice squad of the Packers, and now homeboy is out there getting shouts out from all the Eagles squad as soon as he gets another, like he's on to 2 picks at this point. This boy just literally came off the practice squad 3 weeks ago. I mean,
it is the most annoying thing to watch. It really is.
It really is defeating.
It really, really is. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's like, why couldn't you do that here?
Right.
But then you have to look back at like the staff that we had here when that player was here versus the staff that they have with the team that they're on now. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't trust this staff, over the last couple of years. I wouldn't trust them to develop an ant like at all. Like I wouldn't trust them to do what they're supposed to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
So
you're right.
It's like, am I surprised? I am, to see them doing so well. Mm-hmm. But I can see why. Mm-hmm. There's certain things that this organization just doesn't really care about. And, they preach, quarterback factory, but then it's like, you're not putting the right people around your quarterback,
right,
to even like give them a chance to thrive either here or in another place. Mm-hmm. It's always drama when somebody leaves. It's always, so-and-so had a falling out, or so-and-so hasn't talked in 4 weeks, and mm-hmm. and all of this drama. And then they go to this next team and it's like, they're thriving, You see Carson Wentz, he had 2 sprained ankles and like a broken foot already, and he's out here making history with John Taylor. Like, I'm
a real running back.
I'm annoyed.
Right? Yes, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed to see Ertz, his first ball, his longest touchdown ever, as soon as, like, literally 2 days later. He's a Cardinal out there thriving. Him being a fine ass tight end with a fine ass running back, James Conner, and fine ass D Hopkins, although now he's injured, but still,
he got the rest of the season. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, most likely they will be in the playoffs, so maybe he might be back when they're in the playoffs. Yeah. But I mean, come on. I mean, I'm happy for Ertz though. I do want him to thrive. I want him to get a ring just to be like, F y'all. Y'all should have just gave me the rest of my, another year. But and then seeing people like, I mean, but there's been other players, like Jalen Mills hasn't really been making noise in Patriotsville, and Sydney and the Jaguars. I think maybe he might have caught a pick. I mean, there's some players that just, they are what they are. But does it annoy you when they flourish? Hell yeah, it annoys you, because then you kind of question. But like you said, at this point, it doesn't really matter, because this squad is new, and who knows if Rasul had stayed, would he still produce the same kind of lackluster effort or what?
Right.
And my boy and Strap is in Houston. I haven't heard anything about Strap, doing anything serious other than seeing his tweets, because I still follow him. But you're right. Some players, it may not have worked out for them, period, but it doesn't really mean much at this point when you have a whole new coaching staff. And finally, at this point, we know they're going to play Washington twice. So we do not know who their quarterback is going to be necessarily. It may not be Heineke. He's the third stringer at this point. They can't have obviously anybody but him. Besides, who's the other guy on their team? Like, I think they have
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen. Okay, so that's right, because they put him in the end of that last game. But at this point, I don't think there's any reason why the Eagles should lose any of these games. They should be able to wipe them out for both. But if they don't for some reason and they split, I'm not shocked. Like I said, I feel like they should, everything they've learned from this season on, they should really be able to apply to these last 4 games at least, because they're division games. And all these games are whimpering out. The Giants shouldn't be any better. They should be able to beat them this time, because that was just ridiculous in the middle. Exactly, should. Operative term. But what do you think majorly, what do you think the thing that they really need to stress for the remainder of this season, as far as like production wise? Like, do you think it's focus? Do you think it's trust? Do you think it's just maybe not overthinking the scheme? Like, what do you think is going to probably help them win out if they can?
I think all of that has to be applied. They have to, I feel like you can tell what players are thinking too much when they play versus the people that just go out there and then just
ball out,
just let it all hang out. You see a difference with, let's take Darius Slay, for example.
Mm-hmm.
He goes out there, you don't hear a peep about this man unless he is breaking up a pass, picking somebody off. Like, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I feel like he plays so free compared to, maybe someone like Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox is like, I'm running downhill, I'm sacking the quarterback, I'm not chasing no running back for the bubble screen, I'm not doing all this extra stuff. And it's like, just do your part. Like, that's all you have to do. Stop worrying about everything else. Just do your part, play free, and everything else will fall into place. But I feel like they don't trust John Gannon. They don't trust the game plan that he puts together for these teams. And that to me is a really big problem.
Well, you remember when we were talking to Avante, remember we asked him that in a way? You asked him that. Do you feel, because I feel like what he was kind of saying in a runaround way was just saying, like, we basically can't like tell them what we think is right. We have to trust them because they're new. And I feel like now, I think Avante has earned that right, that he could say something. You know what I mean? Because
absolutely.
He's gonna be a Pro Bowler, I think, at this point, because I feel like he's played a lot more free now than he has even before. So yeah, I agree with you. I'm praying that they use Dallas a lot more too. Because at this point
they have to. They have to. Like, there's no, if he doesn't have 70, 80 yards for the next in each of these next 4 games, like, I just throw in the towel. Like, I'll be done. I'll be done. Like, because there's no reason your tight end, who is as big and as physical as Dallas is, should not be getting the ball. Like, there's no reason why you can't I don't care if you have to just toss it up and he's got 2 defenders around him. He's gonna get the ball
Right.
one way or another.
Right.
Elbow might come down on somebody's face, but like
Oh,
it is what it is. Like he's gonna get the ball. He's gonna get the ball.
Yeah.
But I don't know if okay, maybe it does come back to trust.
Yeah, it has to.
Maybe Jalen doesn't necessarily trust all of his receivers. Maybe he's feeling some type of way because of Jalen Reagor, or people dropping passes that they shouldn't be dropping.
That's real.
I don't know. I
mean,
don't know. I think it does come back to trust.
Quez isn't playing, so who else is
Yeah,
going to
so
be in
it's like
there?
Greg Ward
Or Hightower,
unless I think Hightower,
or is it special teams maybe for him?
what? I saw something on him, but I don't think it was an injury. I don't think it was an injury. There's no way it's an injury.
I thought they were taking him off of like practice squad or something, or wherever they put him, because I figured they would have to use him if Quez is.
Oh, I think that's what it was. I think they were pushing him up from the practice squad.
Because Hightower is tall, but he just hasn't been able to be consistent and reliable. And my thing is, if they decide to just use Jalen Reagor as like a third running back instead of putting him out pressure out there dead in the middle of the field.
I don't even want him as a third running back. No, because he's going to lose us 15 yards. Like, I don't have time for that. That wide receiver screen thing or whatever, jet sweep, whatever it is that they do.
Yeah, the sweep.
Toss it.
Stop doing that.
Toss it. It hasn't worked since Deshaun Jackson was here. Yeah. And no, absolutely not. Get that shit out the book. I thought that left when Doug Peterson left.
Yeah.
Like I'm no.
I just feel like it's not, because realistically, you and me both know we don't want to see him on the field, but he's going to be on the field because he's a first rounder. So I feel like if they're going to use him, he either has to defeat that fear of being a punt returner and just plow through and stop freezing, or
I don't think he's physical enough.
Definitely not physical enough. That's the problem. That's why I say, like, realistically, I would bench him, but I know they're not. So I'm trying to think of ways they could put him in there, because the few times they did decide to use him as a running back kind of in between when Miles was down or whatever, I think it did help. So even if he just gets a first down, just let him do that, or just keep him on the outside. But I don't think, because I don't think, even though he did catch some deep balls on the side, I have to think about it now, he did catch a few deep balls on the side, but that's usually Quez's position. So if he ends up being that guy, fine, keep him there, but that's it. Like, I'd rather him just try downfield with Devonta or Dallas, and then that's it. Like, and then maybe Greg, maybe for like a short, run into the end zone, but please use them better. I just feel like it's a waste of time to try to give Reagor that chance anymore. I think it does something to his head. You're right, he's not physical, but what are your other options? I mean, Boston Scott is clearly not afraid of contact. So if you want to keep him as the human bowling ball, let him do it. You know what I mean?
Shoot.
He's not scared. He's like our Big Scrolls Part 2.
Exactly.
And what do we feel about Miles this year? I don't feel like he's really been able to tap into his true ability this year at all.
I want Miles to do well. I do. I really, really do. Because he's been through a lot.
Yeah.
Injuries, having to sit, being taken out of games, like, he's been through a lot. And I feel like the only way that he is going to be able to thrive is if he's on the field. Like, he's one of those running backs that, like, he has to get the touches. He has to get the touches to get into a rhythm.
Right.
And we saw that happen, 2 weeks ago, where he went over 100 yards rushing.
Yeah.
He has to get the ball. If he doesn't get the ball, he's never going to get into that rhythm that we are used to seeing. But that comes down to play calling. So that's on Nick Sirianni to call plays that are geared towards Miles Sanders. And that also falls on Jalen Hurts, because if he's running RPOs all day, it's like, either you're gonna take it and run, you're gonna give it to Miles and take it and to take it and run, or you're gonna chuck it down the field. Like, I feel like that's not too many options, because that's the point of an RPO. But like, I feel like that makes Jalen think too much.
Yeah.
And then it's like, now you're missing opportunities to get to the sticks. So
you got to minimize the offense. And
um
I do feel like that's part of the problem. You're right. That's where I agree that someone is overthinking is Jalen Hurts for sure. And I
yeah,
think it's partially because of Sirianni. So it kind of works hand in hand because obviously you want to be in the mind of your quarterback, but I do feel like they put too much on him. And then I think Hurts puts too much on himself. And part of
right.
that problem is now that you know that he has this, it's a high ankle sprain, which I was hoping it wouldn't be. He's got to take that risk and just trust in the running backs more because he can't be doing so much.
Yeah,
They're really good at doing the fake and the trick thing, they've been doing. So I'm like, stick to that every now and then. That seems to confuse
right.
defense a lot. And then that way you can kind of still use, I mean, shit, let's go back to the back in the day when they used to have the triple running back threat, because it's almost like a good strategy to mess up the defense to say they're really going to do 3 running backs. You know what I mean? Have a moment where you
Yeah,
don't have a double tight end set and just decide to use the, I forget what they used to call it. I forget there was a term for it back when they used to use Corral, Westbrook, and then there was another guy and they used to just use them every now and then. Sometimes that confuses too. I think they should look into that.
right.
And that also spares, Dallas getting hit all the time because he's most likely going to be blocking a lot more no matter how much you cut it. That's the only reason why Dallas probably hasn't gotten the ball most of the season anyways, because he's been helping blocking when the O-line was shaky. So,
Right.
and they also can use Tyree Jackson. We keep forgetting about him. He was doing good in the preseason. He just came back. I feel like at this point, he should feel just as comfortable as Dallas to get the ball every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
There are ways to do this, but you and me both have been watching every game at this point to know that part of the problem has been the scheme has been a little bit too overthought. And I think that's why they psych themselves out with Dallas and they psych themselves out with the Giants, because there's no reason why those losses should even happen. I mean, Monday night, they just folded. Like that wasn't even a game, but Giants, it's just unforgivable, that loss.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But anyway,
I agree.
So, all right. So we're going to wrap this up by saying we have our hopes that they should win out, but realistically, I'm thinking 2 out of 4. And the only reason why I think 2 out of 4 is because it seems too easy to be able to win out with this team when they're still trying to figure each other out. And because now that we know that Hurts has a high ankle sprain, what do you think?
I think, obviously my hope is that they win out because then they're in control of their own destiny. They slide into that 7th wild card spot and, they're good.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, I think they can get 3 out of 4 wins.
Okay.
I think the loss may come against Dallas. It's a weird feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no telling what Dallas this last 4 games is going to look like. They could go 0-3 by the time they get to us.
True.
And then it's like,
right.
Then, everybody's playing hard. But, I hope that they win out because that means we get in.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, are they ready for that?
That's the
And
word.
I don't think they are.
Yeah.
I don't think that they are.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many question marks where there shouldn't be question marks.
Mm-hmm.
And that matched up with a more cohesive team, it's a recipe for disaster.
I agree with you. I totally agree with everything you said. And that's why I said 2, because I figured I could stay safe and just be slightly negative, somewhat realistic and hopeful. But you're right. I mean, honestly, do I want them to win out? Of damn course I do. But honestly, this year, like I told you, I've been pissed off since week 4. I've just been trying to just roll with the punches. But realistically, I love my squad, but we're real about this. But finally, I want to say that the Super Bowl is going to be in Vegas. So now they announced it's going to be in Vegas in 2024. So I'm hoping by that time our team looks ready.
I will go to Vegas for a Super Bowl. Okay.
Me too. That might be the week I might have to that might be my little trip next, that year in February, because that will be fun. It'll be dry. It won't be cold. And it'll be nice. It'll be nice to actually go to a game that actually means something more than just a regular season win. But also Pro Bowl too, just to shout out all those who are voting. I think tonight's the last night, or maybe tomorrow. But I've been voting like crazy for Pro Bowl.
What's today?
Today's 15th.
Is it today?
I thought it was.
I feel like it's today.
Okay, it could be today or tomorrow, but I know it's this week. But you want to get your votes in, because I want to see Dallas in the Pro Bowl. I want to see Miles. I want to see Avante. I really want to see Kelsey Lane and Mailata for sure. I just think it would be fun. I don't know what they're going to do with it this year at this point, because I know when they originally tried to do it, it was COVID year. so they had to cancel
Yeah.
it. And I know they had these elaborate plans for the draft because it was supposed to be like they were going to do like something in the middle of the Bellagio, like on the water. They were going to have the draft picks across the water, and I was just like, "Are you trying to kill somebody early?"
Probably, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Some heavy ass guy decide he want to get happy and then just kick himself right in the water.
Can everybody swim? Is everybody okay?
Do we have life jackets for the family? But
we don't know.
I secretly have to confess though too, Breezy, I have always wanted to be that person that wins the chance to announce a pick. Haven't you?
Oh, me too. Oh yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
I had it.
You kidding me?
I had it in my head. I mean, I know it would probably most likely be if you want a trip there, but even pre-COVID, like I pictured myself in my little tank dress and my little Eagles, my hair looking all good, and then all of a sudden just get to announce, and then it'd be like the number one pick or something like that, and I'd be like, that would be the best moment ever. Just the best moment ever.
Man, I can't even imagine what that experience would be like. Like, I feel like it would just be like,
you wouldn't even know what to think.
It would be indescribable. Yeah. It would be indescribable. It's like,
you black out.
You announced the Eagles. Yeah.
The first
pick. That Eagles pick. Yeah. And it's like, it's like, how was it? I don't even remember because
that's what it is.
Everything it just went black.
It's a blur.
I was just going. Yeah.
I know, that's awesome, but okay, so realistically now at this point, the game is the same time, right? Because nothing's moved, nothing's been shifted time.
Not that I've seen yet. Everything. Yeah, not that I've seen. They still should be playing at 1:00 on Sunday.
Okay.
Now I guess we'll have to. I mean, it's only Wednesday. We'll see what Thursday and Friday is like because they're organizations are putting their entire teams on health and safety protocols at this point.
Yeah, which they should, because especially with the new variant, and realistically, hi Riley. I think that at this point it should be, because it's officially going to be winter soon, and we don't want anybody on our team sick, especially not our quarterback at this point, because I do not feel like seeing Minshew right now. I really don't. Can we just wait till week 17? Maybe. I think it actually would be good if we have Gardner Minshew. Actually, now I think about it, against the Cowboys, because he's a little cowboy. He would be like Coy Detmer playing against the Cowboys, especially if we won. He'd be like,
Jesus. Oh God.
Riley, are you excited for Christmas?
That might be a little painful.
You excited for Christmas, Missy? Oh, she's like, I'm out. I'm ready for Christmas at this point.
Yeah, we got we got a little tree or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm ready for Christmas to be over. I'm not like, I don't want to say I'm not a fan, but it's like, it's a time of year that like brings me a lot of stress.
Yeah,
so I'm like, I'm ready for it to be done. Like I'm over it. Like
I totally understand. I mean, honestly, my friends are dragging me out on Friday just because they know I've been a hermit. So they're like, we're going out, we're going to Tinsel, and then if not, we're going to do some other Christmassy shit. And I'm just like, all right, fine. I give in, because I've been hiding so long. I'm like, all right, I do need some air. But all right, girl, thank you for joining me on this Birds of a Feather. I definitely wanted you to be a part of it, because like all of us Birds fans, we know that 4-0 is the dream, but we'll see what really happens.
Yeah.
We're going to say a prayer because you go into the game. So say a little prayer for Jalen. I want him to prove everybody wrong, even in these 4 games. Just Lord Jesus, please sprinkle some victory on this dome, because we need it. But I appreciate you, girl. And we'll be talking soon, I'm sure. I'm trying to do another link up. So I'm trying to mix some people together. So don't be shocked if I send you a DM.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem.
All right. I love her headphones. We'll talk.
Thanks, Amazon, for $16.
That's what's up, because I still got the ones I won from the Beats and I never used them. So it's a shame. I love my earbuds. Is it bedtime, Pookie? Is it bedtime?
It's about to be. Yeah.
I hear that. All right. Well, go Birds. And I'm
go Birds
on your next podcast. I'm hoping. I can't wait to hear your experience after this game. Hopefully nothing but the best, as usual.
Hopefully. We'll see.
We'll see. All right, we'll check her out. Definitely. Sports and Stilettos podcast will be coming at you in about another week, I'm sure. Next episode. She's worth the listen, trust me, because she breaks it down. And check this out on my YouTube channel as soon as it goes up. Mwah. Love you, Breezy. We'll talk.
Love you.
Bye, darling. Take care, lovely. Say bye.
Hello.